Oops, I did it again. Yes, remember I gave you La Scala salad in December, and now I'm giving you the world's best cheesecake in January. So everybody's on a diet. Everybody's has a resolution to not eat sweets or sugars in January, right? And what do? I give you the world's best recipe for cheesecake. It's my mother's recipe that was a secret for decades and decades. And I'm sending it out into the world. I've got to show you this. So remember, I went to London to fly an airplane. And my first day in London, what did I do? I went to Buckingham Palace and I went to see the Queen. And I got this apron there. In fact, I also got this there. You know, some people go for diamonds and pearls. I go for aprons and towels. So I got this, it says Buckingham Palace, and somebody actually tried to dry their hands on this. Well, I let them know in no uncertain terms that these may be towels, but they're not for drying your hands on. They're for looking at and knowing that that you're in a palace, right? So I need to tell you the story. I'm giving you a recipe, my mother's recipe, that was a secret recipe she told no one. And I have a wonderful story on my blog all about this recipe. And my blog is apartfrommyart.com. And I tell you the backstory to this recipe. My mother always made this for every family occasion, and we all adored it. And my mother would give it to friends, to anybody who she felt she wanted to give a little gift to. She gave, wait, I've got to do something here. She would make a cheesecake for them. And there are some members of my family that are not thrilled that I'm giving out this recipe, but there's some wonderful stories connected to this cheesecake. But let's start, okay? And you can you start with graham crackers. And so these are graham cracker crumbs. Now, so you need 2 cups of them, and wait a second. You know, I wanted scissors, and I don't, wait a second. Let me find some scissors. Wait. Okay, found scissors. There we go. So we start with a graham cracker crust, and you mix it with a quarter pound of butter. So we take, how many? 2 cups of crumbs. Do you like graham crackers? I used to love eating graham crackers. Okay, 2 cups of graham crackers. And if you don't have the crumbs, just buy graham crackers and crush them. You know, put them in a bag with a rolling pin. And then 1 cup of melted butter. People have commented about this. Isn't it adorable? So this is I bought it years and years and years ago, and it's for melted butter, obviously. I'm sorry, I can't give you, I don't even remember the name of the company that made these pots. Okay, 1 cup of melted butter. But anyway, so my mother's friend who lived up the street, I played with her daughters, and she had a gentleman friend who would come over to her home, and he loved at the end of our street was one of the finest restaurants in the city, and it was called Perino's. And the chef there, supposedly, we really still don't know the story, gave Mary the recipe for this cheesecake. And Mother and Mary they always had all sorts of adventures together. So they made this cheesecake. My mother was my mother and Mary were both fabulous cooks. And they were going to go into business together. Maybe that's where my entrepreneurial spirit comes from. Although I haven't entrepreneured anything, but maybe. And they were going to go into business. This is a 10-inch pan. And in fact, this is my mother's pan. I was the one who inherited it. Why? You know what? I'm not really quite sure. I think I was more into cooking. I think my eldest sister wasn't really into cooking, and my middle sister was busy being an entrepreneur, and or else I just stole it. I don't know how I got it, but I did. So I'm just putting this, into the bottom of the pan and kind of letting the sides rise up a little bit. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. Wait a second. Putting it in the oven for how long? I already forgot something. A pinch of cinnamon. I have this habit of, what am I going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some cinnamon. This is what you're not supposed to do. I'm going to just put a little cinnamon on the bottom of this. You know what? But you're supposed to mix a pinch of cinnamon in. But I didn't. I have this habit. I know you're supposed to read a recipe through before you make it. Right. And I have a habit of not doing it. And suddenly I'm missing an ingredient. So I'm just putting a tiny sprinkle of cinnamon in. And nobody's going to know the difference, right? I mean, cinnamon tastes good if it's on the bottom or mixed in. Okay, so this is going in the preheated oven. Now let me tell you another trick about preheating ovens. When the oven says, voila, I'm 350, I'm ready to go. It isn't. Leave it on for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because it may say it's at 350, but who knows? So leave it on longer to make sure it's at the right temperature. So now I'm going to leave it in, bake for 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm taking this in. I'm going to go put this in my oven. Okay, then we mix the ingredients. Oh my God, you know what? I was going to, it shows you. I was going to record this yesterday, but I forgot to really read the ingredients and I was missing stuff. So here I am again. So it calls for 4 8-ounce packages. So people would write poems to my mother's cheesecake, and everybody wanted to know the secret. And as I say, for decades, nobody was allowed to know. So I published it. I wrote a blog about this, and the Olympic swimming coach, Jane Figueros, made this for the teams because they would work so hard and she wanted to give them an extra treat. So she made my mother's cheesecake for them. Well, it turns out, if you're from Britain, you all know who Tom Daly is. He was an Olympic, he was an Olympic diver who's also adorable. And she made it for him, and she made it when people would come, people who would come who would donate money to the Olympic team, and everybody adored my mother's cheesecake. That's pretty, so it's very exciting when you're a blogger, and you write a blog in LA, and an Olympic coach not only makes my mother's cheesecake, she would get the biggest kick out of this, but people around the world had tasted the cheesecake, and one of Jane's friends had tasted it, and I think that she was either from New Zealand or Australia. I love that idea, that something like this can travel. Wait a second. Maybe I should have had these all cut and opened and put in here ahead of time. But this shows you how I'm not a cooking teacher, right? We do it for fun. So here's a swimming coach who, she keeps her team on such an incredible diet, that they've got to be healthy and only eat certain things. But then when they work really hard, she makes my mother's cheesecake for them, which I think I love that story. Mother, can you hear me? Okay, so we've got 4 eggs and sugar. Okay, so here's the sugar. Now, you know what I do? I keep a vanilla bean in my sugar. Wait a second. You see? So I always keep vanilla beans in my sugar because it makes the sugar smell even, oh my God, it smells so good. It makes the sugar smell even sweeter having vanilla in it. So then we're going to beat this up. Wait a second. Oh, okay. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay, so this is cooked. At least it's got 5 minutes of cooking in it. And I'm going to, let's see, I've got a cup of sugar, 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, and a pinch of cinnamon. Yay, cinnamon! And I think it calls for a tablespoon of flour. Okay, I'm going to go get the tablespoon of flour. Now if I were more organized, I would have had little dishes out here of the sugar and the eggs and the flour, but I didn't think of it. So, okay. So there's the cream cheese. Let's put in 1 cup sugar. On my blog, maybe I'll tell you guys while I'm cooking this. My mother played, wait a second. My mother played cards. I don't know if it was Mahjong, but she played cards with a group of women. One of them being Lillian Hoffman. Well, Lillian had a son who wanted to be an actor, and he lived in New York City. And my mother's family is from New York City, so she would go back there frequently. And so Lillian said, "Would you please go check on my son? I'm worried about him. He's living in a tenement up at the top, and I don't know, he doesn't have..." She wanted Mother to take a look and see how he was doing. So Mother goes to visit her family, and while she's there, by the way, the eggs are added one at a time. So Mother goes to New York, and she decides to bring some food to Lillian's son. And so she decides to make a cheesecake to bring to Lillian's son, which is really nice of her. She takes I don't know how she gets into New York, because she was in New Jersey. Gets to New Jersey, goes to the tenement, climbs all up the stairs, and brings him a cheesecake. So she was telling me this story, and she was saying, "Yeah, I went to Dusty's place up in the tenements up in New York City, and Dusty this and Dusty that, and he wants to be an actor, but he's so skinny. I don't know how he can be an actor." And she's going on and on and on about Dusty. And I'm listening to her and thinking, Dusty? Are you talking about Dustin Hoffman? Yeah, Lillian's son, Dusty. She had no idea. And I think this was after he'd won an Oscar, something like that. So that's my mom. It's really cute. Now, what you do is, when I got the pan out of the oven, I turned the oven off, because you want to put this into a cold oven, or cold-ish, meaning it's not on. And you cook it at 375 for 40 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. My mother would buy boxes from the local cake shop, and I mean, she really did it professionally. So she bought these boxes, and she would bring the cakes over, and with these cake boxes. So that shows you, if my mother's even going to the trouble of buying boxes to deliver cakes, she was really serious about this. Aha! The timer went off. It's ready. Okay, come to me, baby. Here we go. Okay, so I put this in the oven and I baked it for 40 minutes. And then I had to let it cool for another 30 minutes. So in that time, the light changed. So if I look different, I'm in the same place. Don't be worried. But we had to turn on other lights. So that's what's been going on. So now I'm going to make the top for the cheesecake. And it calls for 1 big carton of sour cream. Okay, so it's a pint, which is 2 cups of sour cream. And then look at me, I'm all organized. I've got my vanilla here, and I think this calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. Here we go. So a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, and then sugar, and it calls for 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I've got my sugar here. Look at how professional I am. So I've got this sugar, and then I just mix it. That's it. And it says to mix it for what, several minutes? I don't know. This says several minutes. I can't quite believe, I don't think that this, I don't think I want to stand here for several minutes and, have you watch me beat this. So I think maybe we'll cut it and then move on from there. You know, it seems like it's taking a long time, but that's just because I'm talking and making mistakes. But if you made it by yourself, oh, you know what? Beating really does help. So then I'm going to smooth it ever so smoothly over this, ever so smoothly. So I smooth it all around. It really is good to beat it for there we go. And now I'm going to put it in the oven let me taste it. You know what? It really tastes good. It isn't even cooked yet. Isn't that, I guess, sugar, vanilla, sour cream. It tastes good. You know what I used to have when I was a little girl? I don't know if this is just European, Russian, but I used to have sour cream with sliced bananas and brown sugar on top. My God, I love that. Okay, this is going into the oven. Okay, so this is going into the oven for 8 minutes, and then you think it's going to be ready. It's not. Then it has to go into the refrigerator overnight so that it kind of solidifies. And so I'll show you when I take it out of the refrigerator. I'll show you tomorrow morning also, okay? It's finished baking. This was 8 minutes, and now it needs to cool. And now I need to put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then I'll show you the results. I'll do all the finishing touches tomorrow morning, okay? Maybe I'll even have a slice of cheesecake for breakfast. You know what I did? I must admit, I licked the pan. You know, the sour cream with the sugar and the vanilla. It was really good. And it had a different texture from beating it, for so long. And it was delicious, I must say. Okay, so this, I'm going to let this cool because it's hot. I'm going to let it cool, and then it goes in the refrigerator overnight. I'll see you in the morning. So it's been in the refrigerator all night. Look at how pretty it is. So it's beautiful. And now, you know that this is a 10-inch, and it's called a springform pan. I never remember the name of it. So now this is an offset spatula, and it's probably really small. I think I'm going to just kind of go around. No, I'm not, because it's cracking things. So let's see. Okay, hold your breath. Let's see how it does. Wait a second. There it goes. Now, what I would do if I wasn't filming this is that I would take my finger and I would lick it and taste it, and it's really good. And I'm lucky my husband doesn't like cheesecake, so I can lick the whole thing, and I don't think these calories count. Okay, so here it is. And then what I'm going to do is, I guess that's not very hygienic, is it? So, oh my goodness, I spilled it. Oh. So these are the graham cracker crumbs, that we put down here. And now what I'm going to do is, oh, you know what I should do? I should put paper underneath this. Let me get some paper. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got some wax paper. I use this all the time. And I'm going to put it underneath so that I don't make a bigger mess than usual. So I'm going to take this, put the wax paper underneath, so that when I try and put the crumbs on it, it'll land on the wax paper. So look at how professional I am. I put the graham cracker crumbs into this bowl, so I'm ready, not like usual. And then I just kind of take it around and press it against the cheesecake. And it doesn't have to be precise. You know, while I'm doing this, I want to talk to you about decorating a cheesecake. Now, my mother always used to use kiwi fruit. I love kiwi fruit. I never liked the way it looked. And I didn't want to do strawberries. I don't know, it seems like everybody does strawberries, even though strawberries are delicious. But I got an idea. I found it on the internet, and that is get a stencil and put a stencil on top of this, and then possibly either put, well, I don't know about cocoa. What I really like is the idea of white on white. And what if you put powdered sugar on the stencil and then lifted it up? So I think that's, but I don't have it, didn't do it, but it's an idea. And the other idea is, you know, this is perfect the way it is. It doesn't need any decoration. It's a wonderful pie, and there's a certain elegance when I don't spill graham crackers on it. There's a certain elegance of it being simple and beautiful. And this is my mother's world best cheesecake, secret cheesecake that everybody adores, and it's now yours. Okay, so I put the crumbs along the side. I haven't decorated the top, but I want to taste it. So let's try this. Now let's make it prettier than this. I'm going to take it off of this paper. This isn't that pretty, but let's see what it looks like and tastes like. So I'm just going to, this is really rich, so all I need is a tiny slice. So here it is. You know, the first slice never comes out that good. There we go. What I need is a cup of tea with this. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm excited. Brings back so many memories. It is really good. Oh my God. It's really good, guys. Just right. So this is a lovely gift to yourself during the holidays. Anytime, bring people a cheesecake, they'll love it. And then when you tell them the story, and you must go to my website and see the whole story, and the recipe is printed there. Go to apartfrommyart.com and everything, all will be revealed. Enjoy.